In 3 counts starts now.
Ooh, what up, no? It is another Tuesday. It is Knockouts in 3 counts, and man, do we got an action-packed episode for you tonight. We've got the return of Double J himself. No, it's not Jeff Jarrett. It's the return of JJ Pagan before he steps back into the ring in his hometown February 10th, Grand Rapids, Michigan. We're going to get to talk about that. And then after that, we're going to be having the return of our friend from across the water over there in Canada. Caroline Veyre will be joining us to talk about her fight on February 10th. So if you guys are in the Grand Rapids area, make sure you check it out. If you don't get to come check it out live, make sure you're checking it out on DAZN. Everything's so free and easy and be able to find those kind of things. But JJ, man, what's good in your neck of the woods since the last time we talked to you, brother, man? How you feeling about getting back in the ring?
I'm feeling great. We're just getting pummeled by this weather.
That fucking part.
Well, we've been making it, we've been making it happen, of course, but
it's
been crazy.
Like, for me at least, it's like a weird part of me is like appreciating it. As stupid as it sounds, like I was driving
You
home
shut
earlier,
your mouth.
and it was such a whiteout. You couldn't see, like, you look down like the city blocks as you were driving, you couldn't see like the second, third house in. It was so like, and I'm like being fucking stupid. I'm rolling down the windows, letting like the snow hit me in the face, and like that. Man, this is kind of nice.
That's
and
what
I'm
I've been
like,
doing.
man, like it. I don't usually appreciate it because I do work outside. I was dressed up for it. I don't know what it was about today, but it didn't bother me today. That being said, well, ask me in another week. I'm ready for it to be over. I know that much.
Me too. I miss.
Look
summer.
here. I've got PTSD after the car wreck that we was in last year. So me and driving in the snow at this point, I'm pretty much good on that. Although I will say I braved the snow on Sunday to go see the Pistons play. I'm just glad that they won by 20 when I went, because the last time I went, they were winning the whole damn game and then fucked it up in the last 10 minutes. So, it's a good time. But, speaking of the snow and the snowpocalypse that is come to Michigan, you got to tell me, has this sparked any Rocky training for you, my man? Are we doing any Rocky workouts in the training camp to get ready for February 10th?
I mean, we've been preparing. We've been working hard like we usually do for every camp. As for being outside like that, I'm not trying to get frostbite or anything, but we're gonna be more than ready February 10th.
I bet you will be. I guess we're leaving that to Sly Stallone. But, with all that being said, let's get into talking about some of these things related to this fight coming February 10th. And the first and most obvious one, dude, I've watched some of the promotion and some of the hype videos from our friends over at Salita Promotions, man. And you talked about how this is the first time you've gotten a fight in Grand Rapids in 4 years. So talk to me about the difference in the lead up for this fight, being that you're going to get to fight in your hometown, and not only do that, but you're getting to do that on a platform like DAZN.
I mean, first of all, it's very exciting that we're not only that I'm fighting at home again, first time in 4 years, but I'm going to be headlining the show and on TV, that's such a huge honor. And just, I'm very grateful for that. I'm very excited for February 10th. I mean, it's surreal, honestly. But of course, we got to perform February 10th, so that's what we've been training for.
When the offer slid its way across your desk, man. I mean, 4 years away from home. Not only that, like you mentioned, man, top of the bill. What was? It's got to spark some emotions in you when you first get that feeling, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it hit me a little bit, when I first got the offer, but I feel like it hit me more after the fight.
Yeah.
Right now I see it like, it's just another fight. I gotta prepare and everything. But once all the dust settles, I'm laying in bed at night. I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna take a deep breath and be like, wow, like we really did that. It's gonna be an amazing feeling.
Talk to me a little bit about originally you guys were supposed to fight in January, and we had the date changed and all that. Talk to me about that. Does that do anything with the mental, or is it just okay, now I get a little bit more time in fight camp to sharpen my skills?
I'd say it gave more time to sharpen up. We were in Vegas at the time when we got the news for in training camp. It happened on my birthday. Actually, we got the news that it got postponed. Gave me a little bit of time. I got to enjoy a scoop of ice cream. To enjoy my birthday a little bit, but just it gave us more time to prepare, and that's how I see it. I'm a glass half full type of person, so when
Like
something
that.
like that happens, I just gotta keep pushing.
Yeah,
Okay,
especially
so
on the birthday, you almost got to kind of take it like a message or something,
right
Yeah, for
on the
sure, for
birthday,
sure.
you got to tell me what was the flavor of ice cream we were rocking with?
You know, I didn't really go to a good spot. I ended up being just a mint chocolate chip flavor.
Hey, bro, ain't
But
nothing wrong with
Sorry.
I'll be
that.
honest, all ice cream is I love all ice cream. Like I
Right.
don't discriminate against none of them. So yeah.
I used to be partial to as basic bitch as it sounds right now. I always liked this. French vanilla was always good to me.
It's good.
Do that with some strawberries, and then I always like strawberry ice cream too. But strawberries and cream though, bro, son, bitch.
Mm,
I used
yeah.
to be able to eat that joint right out the Stroh's box, bro.
Yeah.
That stuff is good, man. Butter
Hell
pecan
yeah.
is good too.
Yeah.
That's not a bad
That-
pick either, bro.
yeah. Typical fashion. My grandpa turned me on to that one as a kid. He's like
What is it
always
with
had
old
it in the
people and
freezer.
butter pecan,
That's
bro?
known as the
It's
grandpa ice cream or something,
yeah,
My
it
grandpa
Yeah.
ate
fits the
that
mold.
shit too.
But hey, I'll keep the tradition alive. Put it that
For
way.
sure.
Hell yeah, man. Shout out to everybody who's watching. We are live with JJ Double J Pagan, man. We are going to be talking about his fight February 10th. We will be joined by Caroline Veyre. If you guys are turning in 9:30, we got about 115 of you guys in here. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and follow everybody. All the links are in the description. All right, man. We talked about, getting to fight in Grand Rapids. We talked about, your return to the ring and getting a little bit more time. Talk to me a little bit about your opponent, man. What I like is you are taking a lot of tough fights. Your opponent for this fight is another tough guy, and Brian Jimenez coming in here at 18-2. Talk to me about this fight. Were you happy with this matchup, or was it was next man up?
I'm very happy with the matchup. I like keeping that momentum going with taking the tough fights. My last fight being against Malik Montgomery. Great record, great fighter. This is no exception. Yeah, what better way to have a homecoming fight than to fight somebody that is actually coming to fight, Like I didn't want to fight that was just gonna be just for me to showcase something and go on. I want to keep taking the tough fights and being prepared for the big fights down the line.
Hell yeah, man. That's what I like to hear, dude. And that's the thing. As many people that follow our show know, I'm not only with boxing, but a lot of my training partners were guys that ended up going to fight in the UFC. And one thing past guest of the show, Miles Jury, always talked about is like, especially in boxing, I would almost say you always kind of see people talk about how some people will like pad a record or just take, easy guys on their way up and stuff. But one thing I'd always heard him talk about is he's like, bro, you can go out here, be 15, 20-0 and beat a bunch of turd cans. But then what happens when, you go fight, these tougher guys? What happens when you take that step up fight? And a lot of times I feel like in boxing, you can see guys get exposed that way. And that was one thing that I had always heard Miles talk about, before he made it on to the Ultimate Fighter the first time. He'd fought the number 3 guy out in the country outside the UFC and things like that. Fought, King of the Cage, all these kind of things on the way up to the UFC. Just as you're doing here in the zone boxing here, you're getting to fight another guy, like I said, a tough dude in Brian Jimenez. And like you said, your last fight was an absolute war. How do you plan to make this? Do you expect this fight to kind of be like that, or do you got some things up your sleeve to kind of sharpen the tools and not let this one turn into a bloodbath?
I mean, I definitely have some things up my sleeve. There's things that we've been working on since the last fight. Um, I mean, I guess it was only a bloodbath on his behalf, which was good. The last fight, I didn't get to bleed at all. I didn't have too many bruises after the fight, thank God. But um, I just look to consistently have great performances, and that's what I plan on doing February 10th again.
I love the mentality. I didn't get to bleed.
I
I didn't get the
I love it,
opportunity
dude.
that time.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the next
It
one.
was it was nice going home without like a big headache or a big cut.
Yeah.
Like I've had a couple fights like that. So it was nice being on the other end.
See, I like to. We'll talk about this in a minute, but I attribute that to remember any of those who watched our last episode with JJ. Which, if you guys are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I attribute that. I think he's been watching some wrestling. He knows the red equals the green, bro. The red equals the green, and this time it didn't have to be his red making him the green. That's what I like to hear, bro. I like it. I like it.
Talking about watching, I feel like we just had a big event take place over the last weekend in the boxing terms. Did you have your eyes on the debut of Zuffa boxing?
I didn't really get to catch much of it. I saw some highlights of it though. Yeah.
I feel like the event itself was,
I feel like it was very hyped up.
Yeah.
They hyped it up a lot, and then just seeing some things on it, I was like, it didn't really. I don't think it lived up to the hype. But it's the first event, though. There'll be many more. So,
well, that was what I was going to ask. How do you think that'll be able to fit? How do you think that will fit into the world of boxing when you consider primarily since its inception, it's always been about the different governing bodies. Like, you've got, WBO, WBC, WBA, IBF, all those kind of things. Now you're adding Zuffa, who's not affiliated to any of them.
Yeah.
How do you think they're gonna fare in the world of boxing, and like what do you think they need to do to kind of like carve their own spot out in the world of boxing?
I feel like they gotta, I don't know, I think they gotta take it one event at a time. I feel like I guess the first event was pretty, seemed pretty rough, but if they can just turn it around and, change things up a little bit, I think that'll be good. There's a lot of governing bodies in the sport already, so we'll see if it actually does go, or if it just fizzles out.
It'll be interesting to see. At least having somebody like Dana behind it, you got somebody who knows how to promote fights. The last time we had you on here, we were talking about Bud and Canelo, bro. Since then, we've seen the retirement of Bud Crawford. You got any thoughts on that, my man?
I feel like for the right price, he'll come back. It has to be
give me
bigger
that
than the
bag, Playboy.
It has to be bigger than the
and
first
no
Canelo
sanctioning
fight.
money.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm happy for Crawford if he does stick with it. He's going out on his terms. But we'll see what happens with that.
Hell yeah, I agree. That just was funny as hell to me. I respect the hell out of it too, because that's something you've heard for years. Like, oh, I gotta pay all this sanctioning fee money.
Man.
I win the championship and I gotta pay you. It was pretty dope to see him say, "Look, bro, you're telling me you want me to pay."
Y'all can take them belts back.
Here, you want the belt? They already know I'm the champ. Fuck you too.
Yeah, for real. He's doing it on his terms,
And if you plan on retiring anyway, realistically, like Kyle just said, everybody already knows you're the rightful owner. They're going to strip you anyway. So
for sure. Yeah.
I don't know what business has been done to him behind the scenes for all these years, but it seems like a get back type of moment. What I mean?
For sure. Definitely.
Hell yeah. Well, speaking of that, we've got another big fight aside from your guys's February 10th, that is. But we've got a few more big fights in the world of boxing, and I know you're a student of the game, so we got to get your thoughts on some of these. You got to tell me who you got, T.O. or Shakur, bro.
Man, that's a
hell of a fight.
I personally want T.O. to win. I love both of them though. Don't get me wrong, but Teal's one of my favorites right now, so I kind of want, I'm leaning towards Teal, but Shakur Styles is it's very tough to crack, you know. It's gonna be interesting for sure. I mean,
I feel
it's a
like
50-50 fight.
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
You know,
I know
it's
your
it's
heart
dead
says
even.
Tio, but who you
Yeah,
think has the skills
it's
to pay the bills on this one?
man, it's 50-50. Like, you know, I don't know. I don't
I,
know, man.
I feel like for me at least, from my analytical eye, I feel like Teofimo Lopez is the one that's shown improvement fight after fight over fight, especially in his last like 2 or 3, where he's actually really rounded his skill set from where he was already world championship level, and then
Yeah.
to me kind of filled a lot of those holes where people had talking points.
hmm
And to me, that shows that he's investing in his own game. So just for that simple reason, I feel like I kind of have to lean that direction.
I feel like if we see the Teal that fought Josh Taylor, as sharp as he was in that fight, that was honestly one of the best performances of his career, in my opinion. If we
Yeah.
get that Teal against Shakur, I think it'll be a. I think he can pull. I think he'll pull it off, honestly.
I mean,
And it depends on
obviously
what
stiffer
Shakur shows up.
competition. Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
because
say because that's
Shakur, if
on the same
he
hand.
turns it in like De Los Santos or something, you know, like if he just move like spends the whole fight moving and not engaging, then it'll be tough. It'll be a long night for To too, because he struggled to cut off the ring and stuff in some fights.
Styles make fights, my man. I
Yeah.
know I ain't telling you nothing you don't know. It's definitely going to be one that we're looking forward to. Before we get to this next fight that I got to ask you about, you talk about Styles make fights. Styles make a car show too. And you got to check out our sponsors over at the homies Michigan Street Unlimited. That's right. If you guys are in the Detroit area, you most likely are car people. Make sure you check out the fleet from the homies over at Michigan Street Unlimited. The Autorama is coming to Huntington Place. If you guys are going to be there, make sure you check out Michigan Street Unlimited. Tell them Knockouts and 3 Counts sent you, and come enjoy the Autorama. I don't know who they're going to have signing this year, but make sure you check out the homies from Michigan Street Unlimited. Shout out to our sponsor, Cody Caudill. All right.
Nice.
Now that we've got the biznatch out of the way, we were talking about it before we went live. Shout out to everybody who's been checking out. We have garnered probably somewhere in the range of 80,000 views in the last few days over all of our coverage with the Clarissa Shields fight that's coming here February 22nd, going to be here in Detroit at Little Caesars Arena as she takes on Franchon Cruz Discern, and their rematch is a pro. And we were there at the press conference over there at the auto show. Shout out to the auto show, Salita Promotions, for having us. What are your thoughts on this fight, man? There's been so much chatter back and forth as far as like, not just between them, but I've noticed a lot of the comments being along the lines of like, oh, this fight might be rigged and this, that, and the other. And my answer to everybody who said that so far, I'm like, bro, like, Franchon is an undisputed champion in her own right. She's an Olympian in her own right. They've already fought not just in the pros, but they also fought in the amateurs. I mean, if not Franchon, you tell me another name that's going to make sense and bring enough eyes, because that's the other thing. We've gotten to cover her last 4 or 5 fights. This fight, in my estimation, especially from being at the press conference, just from listening to them talk back and forth, while you can tell the respect that's there in this fight, you can tell that they're both ready to get in there and scrap as well. And they know, and Clarissa knows how much of a tougher fight this is. What are your thoughts on this matchup, and how do you see it playing out?
I mean, I have big respect for Franchon, but I feel like Clarissa's taking it all the way. I mean, they haven't fought in, what was it? It's been 8 years now.
Yeah, because it was their pro debut, or her pro debut.
I just feel like Clarissa has grown a lot. I mean, Franchon's grown a lot too, of course, in her own right. But I just feel like Clarissa's just sharp, man. I don't see nobody beating Clarissa. Like anybody,
Yeah.
She's the one. She is the one. That's what I think about that.
I can't really argue. The thing is, bro, and that's been the overwhelming response we've got. We just had Tony Harrison on for his fight, and that was the thing he said. He said, I like this matchup because Franchon's the only one that's going to come in here and not be kind of like awestruck or starstruck by fighting Clarissa. She's not going to come in here and be scared of fighting Clarissa Shields. She's going to come in here and come to fight, which, like he said, is going to make her the most dangerous. But he said the same thing. He said, I just don't see anybody that's going to be able to beat Clarissa. And then, this is a good question for you being a fighter. Like, what are your thoughts on like being on both sides of this? So being somebody that's fought and now doing the commentary and the media side of it and kind of seeing how this stuff goes with like, having the right matchups and matchups that are going to, draw eyes to a fight and all those kind of things. At a certain point, whether the public wants to accept it, not accept it, whatever, there's only so much you can do as a fighter as far as to who to fight. And, it's not a secret that there's not as wide of a talent pool in the women's boxing world that you have, for yourself or in the men's divisions and things like that. And then when you add to the fact that we're talking about a heavyweight fight in female boxing, I mean, how many high-level female heavyweights are there, number one? And number two, like you said, when we're talking about high-level, Clarissa Shields is about as high-level as you get. So to get somebody to be able to match that and then to bring that in with somebody like Franchon, who, is an undisputed champion and Olympian too, I mean, I don't really think you're going to be able to get much better of a matchup than this. Talk to me about that, because that's, I think, something that fans miss a lot. Is like, you can only fight who is available for you to fight, who they line up for you to fight. It's not as simple as, you got to have great competition every time you get in the ring.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, can you name another female heavyweight out there?
I've
think of a
learned
name.
about him as she's fought these fights. Like, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, bro. Like,
I'll be honest. The only names that I know just in female boxing in general, I mean, Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, Clarissa Shields, Franchon. Shoot. I think one of the girls that's signed to Jake Paul, Perkins. I think that's her name.
And that's who Clarissa fought in her last fight. Or not, the fight before last.
The fight before last, right?
Yeah, we interviewed Danielle, and Danielle was a cool-ass person. But, again, that's the other problem. Danielle's been having a hard time finding people to fight, and that's something she talked about in our interview with her, which you can go back and check that out, too. She had the same problem. Finding people to fight.
Yeah.
It's like, if there ain't nobody for me to fight, what is it you can only fight who they can put in the ring with you.
It's like a needle in a haystack.
That part,
Yeah. Especially that size and skill level. I mean, like you say, you're not talking about like, go find some soccer mom that, weighs the weight class. You gotta, like you say, you gotta find somebody that's of at least relative skill level, and then also the size discrepancy. And when you're talking about, we've seen it in the matchups. I can just imagine what's being like talked about in the, managers and back and forth is like the tentativeness, the scaredness almost of like, in the match. I can just imagine trying to sign for it. You get that name come across your desk, you're like, is this something I really want to do? So
probably one of the biggest paydays you get a crack at, though. I mean, I'll tell you that.
You're not wrong. Chances
make champions, dog, and I'd rather go out swinging, making the biggest bag I got a chance at making.
Man, everybody feels that way, though, right?
Yeah.
Hey, what's the saying, bro? Fighters fight. But
at the end of the day, like you can't knock Clarissa, though.
No, because it's not her fault.
It's not her fault at all. And she's great. She's great. She's a legend. She's a great fighter. It just sucks. Like, I mean, like I said, Franchon, that's the big fight to make right now, But people, a lot of casuals, they don't see it like that. They're like, why don't they put her up against somebody? I mean,
well, the only name you hear people passing out a lot of the time, and the number one name that kept coming up in all the comments of the clip that we put up with Franchon, which You know, that alone on TikTok got over 55,000 views. And the number one comment that we were getting back is, oh, well, why don't she fight Alicia Baumgartner? Bro, Alicia Baumgartner fought at 130
Come
pounds
on.
in her last fight, bro.
Yeah.
The only chance you had of that fight ever happening is maybe when Clarissa was at 154, and that would have meant that Alicia would have had to come up at least, 15, 20 pounds in her own right, and Clarissa still would have had to come down, a bunch to make it. Now you're talking about somebody who's up at 175 pounds, coming back to 147 at most, maybe.
Or
fuck all that.
they just go this route. They go the Jake Paul route. They do these crazy looking fights.
No.
Headgear, put a headgear on,
Hey.
exhibition style. Like who knows? I mean,
Hell no. You brought it up
Yeah.
now. You got to tell me, how are you feeling about Jake Paul getting his jaw broke?
hey, you gotta respect Jake Paul for getting.
I respect the shit out of it,
man.
because
Yeah,
although
respect.
I could definitely see what people are saying about, if I was making a bunch of money, yeah, I could see that. But I mean, dude, that guy had to know. Like,
Yeah.
I just thank God for the
I forget-
sake of boxing that Anthony Joshua
Yeah.
did what Anthony Joshua was supposed to do. Because had he lost, bro, I really feel like that would have been like the
Yeah.
kick in the balls to box.
I forget what round the actual KO took place in. I want to say it was like the 6th or the 7th or something.
At 6 or 7
The
round, I
5th?
think.
No, 6. It was 6.
Was it the 6th round?
It-
Yeah.
Either way, I guarantee you, Jake Paul was wishing he would have cut them rounds just a little shorter. You know what I mean? Did we really need to
Man.
do all 8 in there? Come on, because
He got some balls,
honestly,
man.
he was like you say, balls, but he was implying a strategy that was working for him. It was boring as shit to watch,
Yeah,
but he wasn't really getting.
He was going back to his wrestling days if you peep the double leg takedown attempts.
Hey. He was doing way better than anybody had ever expected.
That's just because he didn't get killed.
Hey, and then he still ended up getting killed.
Hey, he
And
landed a
people-
couple good shots though.
And
That's fair.
Yeah,
He did.
he landed.
And
a
again,
couple
I
shots.
respect the balls to do it, because let's face it, at the end of the day, like, even somebody like Jake Paul, this is not about the money. This is not about the money with Jake Paul, dude.
Even going into this one, everybody was arguing about, is it fake? Are they all staged? How much is he paying these guys to fall? And unless he's paying himself to fall and get a broken jaw, I mean,
look here,
maybe,
dude, I
but,
wouldn't. Look, it happened the way it happened. It is what it is. He got paid. Boxing, saved its face on that one. Hopefully, Anthony Joshua has a speedy recovery from the car accident and all that stuff. I'll ask you one more question before we get you out of here, because it looks like Caroline is ready to make her way in here. Who you got in the Super Bowl, bro? Is it going to be the Patriots or the Seahawks? Patriots or the Seahawks, bro?
I don't pay attention unless it's the Lions.
I'm going to see.
I didn't even know they were playing each other. I didn't even know the Seahawks and the Patriots were playing. Honestly,
that's going to be a hell of a game.
I don't know nothing about them. I mean, I heard Patriots are doing pretty good.
They
are. Both.
I like to see the Patriots win.
I like it. I like it.
New coach, new quarterback.
I like it, man. That kid Drake May is going to be good for them for years. I got to say though, seeing Sam Darnold kind of have his redemption here and like come back when the Vikings basically threw him out for Michigan's guy JJ McCarthy, bro. I'm just saying, it's kind of cool to see this guy have a little bit of a renaissance, bro. So all I know is,
I'm glad it's not the Chiefs.
Yes, I don't gotta see Taylor Swift on my fucking TV. Let's go.
I just when I was like, sweet, we're getting rid of the dynasty team, winning forever. And then it's like, here comes the Patriots again.
You better shut the fuck up. It's been 12 years since Brady left. It's been 12 years since Brady left, and Brady went and won him a ring with Tampa Bay too. Shut up and quit hating. He came from U of M. Yes, dude. They were talking about that. Yes, dude. Do your fucking math.
Damn, time's flying. We're getting old.
Dude, who the fuck are you? I remember watching this son of a bitch in college. Hey, man. Well, we got to let you get up out of here. But before we let you go, for anybody who's on the fence, let us know what we're going to see February 10th and what Mr. Jimenez has got in store.
Yeah, you're gonna see a great fight. Brian Jimenez is coming to take, you know, to get the win. So you're gonna get the best Brian Jimenez. You're also gonna get the best Joshua Pagan. You're also gonna get a great undercard. You're gonna get a lot of bang for your buck. A lot of people from Grand Rapids fighting. So just be ready. It's gonna be a great fight, and you got another championship fight on the undercard.
You heard
So
it,
it's
man.
gonna be
We're going to
great.
find out about that in a minute. Make sure you check them out. February 10th, The Zone Boxing. If you're in Grand Rapids, make sure you guys are there. GLC Monroe 20 Live. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out our guy, Joshua Double J Pagan. Make sure you don't bring out that guitar, crack him out. Then you'll get him a knockout real quick. Hell yeah, my man.
All right, thank you guys.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yep, have a good night.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
you too.
Yeah.
Boom. All right. Without
That's,
any further ado, Tag
Shut up,
Caroline is in the second half of tonight's show. How you doing over there in the Great White North? Are you freezing like us here in Michigan?
Oh yeah, it's so freezing here. We had minus 35 last weekend.
Woo!
That was very cold. I'm
Fuck
good.
that.
And what
How you
what
doing?
is the? I wonder what that equates to in Fahrenheit. My mental math.
Cold as
answer-
fuck. What do you need to
No,
know
I
the
know
math
that.
for,
I know
bro?
that. I know that.
That's the type of
Doing
weather
well
make
though.
you freeze
How
your
about you tonight?
balls off, man.
But we used to that in Canada here. And
Yeah.
the winter started like very early this time in November. So it's a pretty long winter.
Yeah.
Definitely feels like that here too. Like I feel like the last few years we've kind of gotten like lucky with like what our normal winter is like versus what we've gotten, and then like this year the winter just said, "All right, you got lucky for a few years. Fuck you. It's winter time."
Yeah. Well, I feel like my kids weren't realizing what a real Michigan winter was like, and now they're
They
getting
found out today.
Yeah, they're figuring it out pretty quick now.
So, same question to you as we had with JJ. With all this snow weather out here and the snowpocalypse that we got going on, are we busting out any Rocky training for February 10th on this one?
Yeah, but no, I've been
She was
training
about to
for.
tell me, yeah, I was carrying a log before I came in here, bro, getting my road
I
work
don't do
in.
this type of training, but it was still a hard training camp to prepare for this fight. So I've been training for like since September actually. So it was
Damn.
a pretty big camp.
Well,
No,
you say you go ahead, Corey.
I was just gonna crack it. No snow cases or staircases in the snow.
No, no, not even running outside. This is
I
too
couldn't
cold.
blame you. I wouldn't want to do that
I
shit. No
couldn't
way.
even breathe easily. So no, I'm not going outside to train. Fuck that.
Dude, see, that's what I'm saying. See, it's universal. You know, with us getting into the new year, you got to tell me, are there any New Year's resolution other than adding to the trophy case in 2026?
It's pretty much the only resolution I have. I want to get my first world title, my first belt, and then 2026 is going to be a big year. So hopefully, very big fights too.
Hell yeah. Well, you've got a big fight on your hands February 10th. You know, you talked about training since September for this fight. Talk to me, the same like we were talking about with JJ. You know, did the fight date change affect you at all with already kind of being in, like you said, a longer training camp as it is, or was it kind of just more time for you to sharpen your skills?
No, it's actually it's better actually to have 2 more weeks. I feel like I have more time for tapering and recovery, and also tactical revision. We don't do like more trainings. We just staying sharp and ready for the fight. It's only 2 weeks. If it would have been like 5 weeks, it would have been different. Maybe like it's too long now, but 2 weeks is okay, and I feel ready for the fight now.
What up, Chris? Checking in up there from Boston. What kind of snow y'all got out there in Boston right quick? Dude, I'm definitely ready for summertime too. But we got to talk about your opponent for this one. Just like we were talking about with JJ, I like the tough opponents. You've got quite the
Mhm.
opponent on this one. An opponent who's 50-3 in her own rights. Fought Katie Taylor. Fought a who's who. Talk to me about your opponent on this one, Delphine Pursoon.
Yeah, she's a very experienced fighter. She has a high volume of punches. She puts on a relentless pressure. She's very difficult. I mean, she's unorthodox and complicated at the same time. And she can be physically hard to box. So it's gonna be a huge step in my career, this fight, and I can't wait. It's gonna be a hell of a fight. Um, I know this fight intrigues a lot of people because they want to see like what I'm gonna do against a difficult fighter like her. So yeah, I can't wait to have this fight and to show what I'm able to do.
How does getting to fight somebody like her who's so experienced at such a high level, how does that make this fight different from, say, even your last fight?
Well, at this level, every detail counts, and every round, every drill we're gonna practice in the gym, every sparring day has a purpose because um, that's what makes the difference, But what solution I'm gonna have against her in different situations, I have to be on my A game that night, and we really prepared specifically for a different person uh, for every situation we could be in and that's pretty much the difference with the other fights.
You know, Getting to fight somebody like that with that much experience, you're coming off your win against Leisha Bodersa, if I can say that correctly. Jesus Christ. But the cool thing with that is this is a good fight for you, not just in terms of obviously it's a step up fight. It's a good fight for you in the terms of she's fought all of these big name people. So if you go in there, you do your thing and get a W on February 10th, like we expect, then that's what does that do for your confidence as you
Hmm.
continue to try to climb this ladder, to getting to that world title, like you said,
Hmm.
because getting to fight somebody who's had 53 fights against some of the biggest names, and then you go in there and put the fourth loss on there. I mean, that's got to be a big feather in the cap, no?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely person, it's not an easy win, and I think beating a person like her um, is a statement because um, like I said, I'm gonna have to put on my A game. And she faced a lot of great champion, and she has really close fight against them. So I feel like um, it's it's gonna put me on the map for sure at 130. And beyond the belt, it will mean for me this a victory over her will mean that I prove to myself without any excuses that I belong. My level belongs at the top. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a huge statement fight for sure.
Absolutely. Well, talking about this fight and talking about, what happens with it. The interesting thing too is you talk about, how this is going to help you make your name at 130. I mean, there's so many fights for you that can kind of, spawn out of this. You've got we talked about Katie Taylor, who she's already fought. You've also got the likes of Alicia Baumgardner, who we were just talking about with JJ. Um, what are your thoughts on being able to not only have this, but be in such a talent rich division like 130, where there are such a nice, run of big fights? We were talking about with Clarissa, which we'll get to in a little bit,
Mhm.
how she's having a tougher time being up there at heavyweight with having not, you know, such the wide range of opponents to go through. How do you feel as you're getting to make your way up here that you got a long list of people that you can get in there and put it up?
Mhm. Well, that's what I'm looking for. I moved up because there was no opportunity at 126, and it's boxing. I don't want to waste time, so I wanted to have a big opportunity like this, so I'm really happy. It motivates me actually to get in bigger fights. I want to fight the best. That's why I'm in the game. So I'm ready for this. I can't wait actually.
You know, you talk. Go ahead, Corey.
I was just going to say, talk me through like what goes into a decision like that mentally to make a weight class move. I mean, obviously you talk about maybe strength of schedule and stuff like that, where you can find better opponents and stuff like that. Maybe, weight cut easier on your end, or maybe you had to actually do the opposite. Maybe you had to dig in and do some weight training to try to match the size of some of these girls that you may be expecting. Talk me through some of the like mind plan that went through that decision.
Yeah, for sure. I had to do a little some changes in my preparation and gain some weight because I'm usually like I'm not really big for 126 either.
Mhm.
So but we prepare for that, and it was actually good. I had to eat more than usual, but it helped me to train harder and to recover better. So I feel like it benefits me, and I feel stronger. So I think like mentally could be a very good division for me, and I love challenges. That's what I want. When in fighting Delphine person, I'm changing a legend, and I love challenges. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm very happy to have this step in my career.
Talk to me a little bit about what that bulk was like. How much of it was changed in like what you were eating? Was it like a higher protein intake? Was a lot of it like changing to lifting heavier weights? Like what was that kind of, what was the process like of being able to put that weight on healthy? Because you see a lot of people, move weight classes and maybe not do it in the best way. And then when they get up there,
Yeah.
either they don't have the gas tank or
Mhm.
they don't have the same power when they move up to the next weight class, whatever it might be. How do you feel about your journey up to the weight class, and how do you think that's going to serve you on fight night?
I think it's very important actually if you're moving up in weight class. Um, and I did a big, like maybe 6 weeks of hypertrophy, and I had to change my nutrition for sure. I had to eat a little more of high protein meals, stuff like that. Um, and I wasn't always very hungry, but I forced myself, and it really helped actually. I thought I couldn't be able to do that, and I realized it was something I could do, and like I said, it benefits me because I really got stronger than I was. So that's really important, I think, to do the right preparation. Um, and the thing is, I did it in advance, so I was able to have more power but keep my speed. So that's one thing I'm happy about
Did
my
you try a
preparation.
trial cut before you did it, or was it kind of just a we're gonna wing it?
I I I don't really cut my weight
Well, no, no, but what I meant is
usually.
like, did you do like a trial run getting up to that weight, or kind of just gradually put yourself there so it
Oh
would
no, I
be
oh
cool come fight
gradually,
weight?
yeah. I've gradually put myself like it took a few weeks before I get there. But
Okay.
I reached a weight I never reached before. It was good. It was good.
you,
Hell
you
yeah.
talk about the food loading, but what's the meal prep and plan for something like that? Were you going through like a nutritionist or anything like that? Were you just eating a
Mhm.
bunch of eggs and steak at home? I mean, what are we talking about here?
It's a lot of every meal with a protein,
Hmm.
and like maybe I had 3 snacks, and like it's total of like maybe 6 meals and small meals at the same time. So it's a lot of food. I wasn't able to finish everything in my day. It depends on the training I had. If I had a really hard training, it was easier for me to eat, but wasn't that easy. Especially when you do boxing and you spending so much energy.
Hell yeah.
At least it's better than a lot of times we're having MMA athletes on, and it's kind of the opposite end. Usually they are the ones cutting weight; they're not moving up in weight. So you, at
Yeah.
least it sounds like your meal plans were varied. A lot of times for these guys, you know, months out, they're like, I had chicken and maybe some veggies. You know,
Look here, Corey. You don't know, bro.
yeah, yeah.
I've done made chicken be as
I,
good as you can make it happen. While I'm in the middle of a damn weight cut. I needed me some protein, bro. But you know, the last time we had you on, we were talking about Canelo and Crawford. Since then,
Yeah.
Crawford's retired. So talk to me about that. Do you got any thoughts on the retirement of Bud Crawford?
I think it was the right time for him. I mean, he proved everything in the sport and he beat the best guy at the end of his career. So he ended up his career perfectly. And it was a hell of a performance too. So yeah, he can retire in peace and he's the best.
It's hard to argue at this point,
yeah.
man, and to go in there and go out like you said the way he did against Canelo and to have such a complete performance, man. I mean, there's not really
And
much of a better way to go out.
yeah, I mean there's a other really good matchups, but I think like he doesn't have to prove anything anymore. I think he done everything for the sport. He has a lot of fights now, and it's the right time for him, I think.
Yeah, I mean, multiple weight division champ,
Mhm.
like you said, you know, there's not really, you know, much way to go. You know,
Besides making money, there's no reason to stay in
I
Exactly.
at
mean,
that
and
rate. You know?
that man
I
was
think he's
making
good
his
with
bread.
that too. Yeah, exactly. He's good with this
I,
too.
I brought the question up to JJ, but I feel like it was a bit of a monumentous moment for boxing over the past weekend with the premiere of Zuffa Boxing. It real potential competitor entering the space. What was your thoughts? Did you watch the card? Anything like that?
The which card you mean?
So
The
Zuffa Boxing is they
Yeah, I
got Dana.
didn't watch the
Mhm.
Discord. Yeah,
yeah.
I watched the Andy Cruz card.
That's I
But
I feel like that they for just making their splash, they definitely the card wasn't nothing crazy. I feel like it was just a debut to
yeah.
kind of get the ball rolling. So you didn't necessarily
Mhm,
miss nothing on that. I more so was talking about just the fact that there's another competitor entering the space is really what I feel like the
mhm,
big thing was from it.
How do you think they're going to fit in with, you know, we know, like we talked about earlier, you know that boxing is, you know, primarily dominated by, you know, you got the governing bodies with
mhm.
WBC, IBO, all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. How do
like
you feel like somebody who's non-affiliated to those is going to fit into the world of boxing?
I don't think it's gonna fit in actually. I think
mhm,
it's so different to boxing, what we know about boxing. It's always been like world championships with for the bodies. So you know the WBC, the WBA, all these belts. That's why it makes great fights.
mhm.
So I don't think it's gonna be good for the sport.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if they, we've already seen the monopolization of
Could have done
MMA,
this like
of
10 years ago,
wrestling.
15
You
years
know,
ago, maybe. But I mean, at this point, like she said, I mean, boxing, the same way the UFC has basically become the kingpin, and as far as MMA goes,
mhm,
in boxing, we know you have the
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
WBC,
Yeah.
WBO,
yep,
IBF. That's just the way it goes. The same as
Mm-hmm.
like when you look at pro wrestling. Sure, there's other options now. We talk about that all the time. It's great
mhm,
that there's more options,
Mm-hmm.
but let's face it, when people think pro wrestling, they think WWE. When people think boxing, you think WBC, you think all of
Yeah,
those kind of
exactly.
things.
Yeah.
When you think MMA, you think
Mm-hmm.
UFC. So, I mean, at this point, I think in 2026, is it great for the landscape for there to be maybe another option? You know, maybe for somebody to have somewhere to go to fight. Sure, that's cool. But like at the same time, like she said, I just don't know that in 2026 that there's really like a ton of room. Now, more power to you. I mean, as we talk about all the time on the show, I mean, if it's
mhm,
fighting or pro wrestling, I probably am going to watch it. So at the end of the day, I probably would be watching it anyway. But do I think it's going to be able to make enough headway to where we're going to be looking back in a year and say, okay, Zuffa Boxing is this big player in the world of boxing? I don't know that I see that. I
Mm-hmm.
think it'll be cool to watch. I'll enjoy watching the fights.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I think that it's really going to like
Yeah, and
really keep a foothold.
I don't think the fights they're gonna have the same amplitude as you know, it's hard sometimes to make the best fighting the
Well, 'cause
best,
you don't have the
but
access
Mhm.
to the
that
best.
it
Mhm.
takes some time, but that's why it makes it so big at the end when the fight's happening. Uh, everybody wants to watch that. So I don't know. I think it's better to keep the belts to fight for the belts.
I think it also differentiates. I mean, it's part of what helps differentiate boxing from MMA. Talking about that, we've been getting predictions on this one. You got to tell me, besides
Yeah.
you getting your dub on February 10th, you got to tell me who do you think is going to get the dub between Toafimo and Shakur Stevenson?
Oh, Shakur.
See?
Shakur.
Uh-oh.
I like
JJ said he's got
Teofimo.
Tio. You like Shakur.
Oh,
I like it.
it's just that Shakur is too like patient. You know, he doesn't overcommit, doesn't
Mhm.
take too many risks, but that's why he doesn't make any mistakes too. And he's mastering that. You know, his defense, his distance control, his ring IQ are elite. You know, and I don't see like Teofimo has speed, confidence. He has good power. I like his explosiveness, but I I I don't see him doing that on Shakur. Like Shakur is like the most technically complete fighter in boxing today, and I don't see him losing.
And styles make fights, man.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you can throw a guy out of his rhythm, make it to where he can't fight like he does, like you said, with the way Tio likes to fight. I mean, if Shakur can make this more of a calculated, more pick his
Yeah.
spots kind of thing
Mhm.
and dictate the way that goes, I definitely could see that fight
Yeah.
playing out the way you said. But
I think he's
go ahead.
gonna outbox. I think he's gonna outbox Teofimo and control the rhythm like he does it perfectly. And yeah, I think it's gonna go over 12 rounds, but it's gonna go his way.
I mean, I think that's how he's got to win. I think that's where he makes his difference, being able to, outbox him,
Yeah.
outpoint him, beat him. I think we all know that the more that this gets into a slugfest type fight, that's what Teofimo wants. So, I mean, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I think, like you said, I think the boxing IQ of Shakur, he already knows for him to win, this needs to be more of a technical fight. You know, Speaking of the technical side of a fight, before I get your thoughts on what we've got from our friend Clarissa Shields, another one of your friends happens to be stepping back into another one of the rings that we cover here on the show. John Masong Wong is making her way back to the ring. Knucklemania is getting ready to go down
Yeah.
February 7th. We just had Joe Elmore on for his fight against Mike the Marine Richmond. Talk to me. How do you like this fight? How do you think she fares against Crystal Pittman?
I don't know her opponent. What's her record?
I've got it pulled up right over here. Let me get you. So you've got Jod is 3-2 and Crystal's 3-3. So on paper, it's kind of a
Yeah,
pick 'em.
it's good. And how many rounds gonna be?
So it'll be 5 2-minute rounds.
Not to jump in here, but I feel like Masa. I always mess her name up, but I feel
That.
like her record is very misleading. Her
She's
record
Yeah.
fought
is
a
very
lot of the top
misleading.
people. I
Yeah.
mean, she fought
That's what
Christine.
I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at here
Yeah.
is anybody who's watched her fights take place realizes why she's in such a high showcase fight is what I'll say.
Uh, I think that she can surprise a lot of people. She's pretty good, and I think. she's going to win the second time. Yeah.
I agree. With Corey's point, I mean, she's fought past guests of the show, Christine Faria, the undisputed female champ out there, and BKFC went in there and threw down with her. She's fought, a lot of the best girls they've got over there at BKFC. Crystal Pittman, for anybody who's really watched BKFC, knows she's just coming in there to brawl. So I feel like ultimately that plays into the type of fight that it seems like Jod likes. So I think I'm looking forward to seeing this fight. It's going to be a good time. Knucklemania's got some bangers on it. You got the heavyweights in the main event. You got our guy Joe Elmore and Mike Marine Richmond on there. You got Lorenzo Hunt is going to be on there as well. Somebody's shit is getting split on February 7th, and I'm just glad that it's not mine.
For sure.
It's going to be dope. All right. Well, we've talked about it a little bit. Again, shout out to everybody who's been checking it out, man. We went and checked out the press conference for Clarissa Shields at the auto show. Shout out to all of you guys who checked that out. Again, we're clocking it around like 80,000 views in the last 3 days. So we appreciate all of y'all who have been checking out our coverage of that. But you got to talk to me about Clarissa Shields versus Franchon Cruz Dezern 2, which is going down February 22nd here in the Mitten at Little Caesars Arena. What are your thoughts on this fight? What are your thoughts on this matchup? How do you see this fight?
Oh, it's gonna be a great fight. I think it's gonna be completely different from the first fight. Obviously, there was a pro debut too, and they both really like changed and improved since this fight. So it's gonna be pretty intense. I think I see Clarissa like being pretty aggressive, and it's gonna be hard for Franchon, but it's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be very competitive.
That's my thing. We were talking about that with JJ. Like, that's been like the number one comment that we've seen a lot of people like through the clips and stuff we put up from the press conference. Just in that you see a lot of people, and I think a lot of it stems from people just not knowing much about Franchon, really. I mean, obviously Clarissa's the one that's out in the limelight. Clarissa's the one who's, the star of the show on this one. But I think because of that, I think a lot of people just look at it and they're like, oh, this is just another body for her to fight. But again, what I've been saying to everybody who's been saying that is, number one, when you're talking about the heavyweight division in female boxing, there's obviously not the talent pool that there is on the male side of the fight thing. So there's not a whole laundry list of women for her to fight, number one. Number two, you're getting somebody in Franchon who's also a fellow Olympian in her own right and an undisputed champion at super middleweight as well. So again, we're not talking about somebody who, to your point, hasn't won. We're not talking about somebody who isn't a world champion in our own right. We're not talking about somebody who hasn't fought on the Olympic stage like Clarissa has. And I think because of that, and I think you could even tell that really by listening to Clarissa talk at the press conference. She knows how much of a tougher fight it is. And to Tony Harrison's point, I think the thing that makes this fight so interesting to me is I think for the first time, at least in the last few fights that we've covered for Clarissa, I feel like Franchon's not going to come in here like starstruck. Franchon's not going to come in here and be like, oh my God, I'm fighting Clarissa Shields. She's going to be coming in here trying to win, trying to knock Clarissa's block off. And I think that's going to serve her well in this fight. One thing, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and like you said, like Franchon, she's been there with Clarissa. She knows her, and I think she wants to try different things. She has a she knows what she wants to do, but at this weight class, I think Clarissa Shield is just she has such a great speed, and nobody can compete against that. Like she's just the best athletic boxer in this fight. That's what I think.
I mean, and you can't even, and you can't argue that, and that's the thing. You see a lot of people saying things like, oh, this fight's rigged and all that kind of stuff. The number one name that you see, people saying for her to fight, ironically, is somebody who's fighting down in your weight class in Alicia Baumgartner. Can you talk about not just from a fighter standpoint, but a female fighter standpoint? Like that was the number one thing I was saying in the comments too. Like, you forget, okay, oh, go fight Alicia. But dude, Clarissa's walking around at like 175 right now. So you're saying
Yeah.
let's cut 30 pounds to cut down and make 40 pounds to go down and make 130 or whatever the weight's going to be. I mean, at the lowest weight that I could see that fight even having possibly would have happened would have been maybe at 147 or 154. But even at that, I only feel like that was possible when Clarissa was still fighting at that weight. So at this point, talk to me about that from a women's standpoint and a fighter standpoint on losing that much weight.
I think it can be dangerous actually to lose that much weight. I understand that it's for one fight to make a very big fight. It's a good reason, but is it really worth it? Because it's a lot of weight, and it's the same for Alicia to gain that much weight and feel good, comfortable in the ring in this way too. So to me, it doesn't make really sense.
I can, and that's the thing too. It's like being able to do that like healthy too, because like you said, you're doing that for one fight. Okay, is Clarissa ever going to go back and start fighting at 147 or even 154 again? I think not. I mean, let's be honest. You don't move up to heavyweight if there was that much competition left for you down there at the smaller weight classes. But talk to me a little bit about that too. It was cool. We talked about being at the press conference over there at the auto show over the weekend. Anybody that missed that, go back and check out the highlights from all of that. What does it mean to you being a female fighter, getting to see the women put on like a stage like that? Like to have, Clarissa's rolling up in a Rolls Royce and Franchon's rolling up in a McLaren to the press conference and all that stuff. What does it mean to you as a female fighter to be seeing the women put on a stage like that?
Well, it puts women's boxing. It's just big. It's big, and it's nice to see like such big fights in women's boxing. We need that. We need the stars in women's boxing like that. And we need more fights like that. Last year we had the Katie Taylor's fight. Hopefully this year there's gonna be a few fights too. But Clarissa, she's always putting on a great show, and she's always making big events. So it's always entertaining when she's fighting. So that makes women's boxing great.
Hey man, we love to see it, and I love that it's happening here in the city. You guys got to make sure you check it out. February 22nd, going to be going down Little Caesars Arena. Make sure you stay tuned for all the coverage on that. But you are getting ready to go to war before that, February 10th, kind of giving us the appetizer, DAZN Boxing. For anybody who is on the fence, please let us know what we're going to see February 10th as you take on Delphine Persoon on DAZN Boxing.
Yeah, don't miss this fight. It's gonna be a hell of a fight. And an action-packed fight. It's very intriguing, this fight. So just tune in on DAZN on February 10th. It's gonna be a hell of a show.
You heard her. Check it out. Grand Rapids, stand up. Come check out your guy, JJ Pagan, and our other guest, Caroline Veyre, as they come in here to get these dubs out here in Grand Rapids, GLC Monroe Live 20. Make sure you check it out February 10th. Again, shout out to our sponsor, We've got Michigan Street Unlimited. Make sure you check them out. Autorama is coming to Detroit February 7th. Make sure you guys are there. Huntington Place. Tell them Knockouts at 3 Count sent you. And we got bonus action for you this Thursday. We've got Mr. Professor himself, our guy Nick Harrison, before the Gen X Takeover comedy show comes down here to Detroit on Saturday. This Thursday, myself and J-Bone will be joined by our guy Nick Harrison, as well as our guy Ant from the Potters of Destiny. We're going to be talking about all things Royal Rumble. They're taking the Royal Rumble to Saudi. Let's see if I can win me some money, win me a belt back. If you got some picks on the Royal Rumble, Chris, I know you do over there in Massachusetts. Make sure you check that out, and make sure you check out the fights February 10th. Until next time and in the in-between time, check us out at KO3C Pod. Make sure you check her out at Carol Veyre. Until next time and in the in-between time, we'll see you. Peace.
And